we know that battery electric vehicles is a big part of the future of commercial transportation. There's some issues though. You talked about the electricity supply and demand issue with the grid. I think that there's this idea, especially amongst like the my daughter's generation, she's 19. They almost think like electricity just comes from, I don't know what they think, but they certainly don't have a concept of like what it takes to produce abundant electricity, what it takes to produce devices to store it safely and to utilize it properly, and things like charging infrastructure and the load that all of these new vehicles who need electricity are going to put on this aging infrastructure. So what trends are you seeing there, or what insight can you give us there?
Yeah, I think there's obviously the exciting component aside of the electrification of vehicles, which we can talk about. I think the challenges you're describing were really highlighted for me last year when the same week that Governor Newsom came out in California and said by 2035, you can no longer buy ICE vehicles. He was also asking people not to charge their electric vehicles because there was a summer heat wave and they were worried about that increased load creating blackouts. And so when you actually look at the load growth that is estimated as we electrify more vehicles, in California alone, they're saying by 2030, we'll need an extra 18% more energy to meet electric vehicle demand. And by 2035, 55% more. And so they're saying that's a minimum of $50 billion worth of investment between now and 2035 to make sure that the infrastructure is there to support this charging. And so, as you can imagine, that's not something that can just be turned on. Utilities are renowned for being extremely status quo orientated. They're not super innovative. They're not going to go out and deploy all this infrastructure without the price being passed on to ourselves. We are the ratepayers. And so they don't do anything without passing the cost on to us. And so to your comment before about an equitable transition, how do we ensure that we are meeting these infrastructure needs while also not destroying people's back pockets?